Good afternoon.
And I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm just here to share um, my ideas on reading and how can we uh, motivate our students to love reading, to enjoy reading. And from the very beginning, right? Maybe they hate reading. And how can we change that from the fact that they don't like reading to enjoying this skill? I'm going to share my screen, guys, for this presentation. And just a sec. Yeah, the presentation is called How to Fall in Love with Reading. Let me see. I'm sharing my screen right now. Yes. Okay. I think, Alan, you have to let people in, right? I can't do that from here. Yeah, the presentation is called How to Fall in Love with Reading, and I love reading. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things I love the most. And well, first of all, let me tell you something. I always like to know what happened, right? And first, once upon a time, we had prolific writers in the world, right? We had for example, Cesar Vallejo or Mario Vargas Llosa, of course, yeah, great writers, Alfredo Bryce. Yeah, I love their input to the society through their books. However, things changed a little bit, yeah, from time to time. I'm going to share this video. I hope we can listen to it.
¿De qué país?
Sorry. Going back. I'm going back. Sorry. Oops, just a second. Again. Here.
¿De qué país es José de San Martín?
De España.
¿En qué parte del continente americano está el Perú?
Norte.
¿Por qué se le dice al hombre primitivo nómade?
Porque son monos.
5 menos. ¿Con qué país se
Esta es una pequeñísima muestra de lo que ya han determinado estudios internacionales sobre la educación en el país.
Un héroe que tú admires, que conozcas su historia.
Superman.
¿En qué año estás?
Quinto.
¿Dónde nació José de San Martín?
Acá en Lima.
¿Dónde nació José?
Acá en Lima.
¿Cuándo descubrieron América?
No sé.
La última investigación de la UNESCO en el 2009 sobre el rendimiento estudiantil, Perú ocupa los últimos lugares en lectura, matemática y ciencias.
2 autores de libros peruanos.
Mario Vargas Llosa y Ciro Alegría.
¿Qué escribió Ciro Alegría?
Mario Vargas Llosa, solo sé que escribió Los Heraldos Negros.
¿En qué se diferencian las palabras agudas y las graves?
En que las agudas son la U, I y las graves son A, E y O.
¿Quién es Hipólito Unanue?
¿Un escritor?
¿Quién es Simón Bolívar?
El que creó la...
All right, guys. So first of all, let me tell you that this is actually not funny, right? It's really serious. We need to learn what happened, why these things are going on in our countries. Not only in our countries, some people today follow up from Ecuador. So in Ecuador, we have also similar situation going on. Like we have that we are in the last position in reading comprehension nowadays. And in Peru, we are doing pretty much the same, right? But why? It's very important. If we want to find a solution, we need to first of all find out what happened, right? And I'm gonna tell you what happened. Who killed reading, guys? Because somebody, injured this awesome skill. And well, let me tell you something. Reading books was a great habit in the past, right? Reading books, in fact, was a very important, how can I say, habit right? From people. In fact, in the past, houses used to have a very comfortable place, cozy place that was the library, right? Every house in the past used to have a library, right? And you could design the library in different amazing ways, right? So that was the great thing. I think you have to accept some people into the session. Yeah. So now what? Well, here houses, with beautiful libraries because people used to collect books, right? And to have you know, buy books and gather them in their house in a specific place, right? In this is a plan of a house in the past. Yeah, we used to have a bedroom, living room, dining room, the kitchen, the porch. There was a house in the past, but one part of the house was the library, right? So it's very important to know that, yeah, in the past, people used to value a lot reading, right? But nowadays, the things have changed. Who can reading, ladies and gentlemen? Let me tell you something. This is pretty much a library nowadays in any house in Latin America. This is an kind of shelf that we have now, but this is really, really serious. Guys, in the past, we, like 10 years ago, we did a research in Lima with a group of teachers from a university I used to work at. And we found out that students, well, first of all, we asked a question. Guys, could you, in a university, almost 2,000 students survey, could you send us a photograph of your library at home? And they sent us this photograph. This is my library. I say, what? Yeah, this is pretty much my library. So it was a collection of papers, a bunch of papers, from photocopies and things like that. And they even told us, yeah, that is my library. That is you have here, for example, in the first cycle of the university, you have that Ética para Amador from Fernando Sabater. You just buy the photocopy outside, right? And you just get there, read it, and that's it, right? It's not important. Just buy a photocopy outside, and some of the students told me that at the end of the year they throw these papers as garbage. Even they fill in the muñeco de Año Nuevo with these kind of papers. So Ética para Amador for Fernando Sabater ended up inside a muñeco of Año Nuevo. In Ecuador, they call them Año Viejo, right? So, well, this is really, really difficult. Why? Because who killed reading, guys? I was at the university, and I remember my first year university, the teacher used to say, guys, you have to read Ética para Amor or Política para Amor from Sabater, but you have to get them across the street in the photocopier Javier. Don't go to any other photocopy machine. Just go to Javier. You will find Ética. Okay, everybody had Ética para Amor, but the teacher sent us to Javier's photocopy machine because even corruption and things like that went on. In fact, these kind of copies were totally illegal. There's piracy and things like that. But wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, this is the gun. This is the gun where when in which reading was killed, right? And these are the bullets, right? And I'm gonna tell you why in a second. And you have bullets of many different colors. You know why? Because when we teach students, go and get that book just across the street to the photocopy. Get a piece, those copies from the books and read them. I have a question, guys. Do you think that publishers will be affected with this? No, they sell millions of original copies in the world. Yeah, they don't care about it. Do you think the school will be affected? The university will be affected? No, they don't care. They just want students to read. Do you think who's going to be affected with this situation? I'm going to tell you today who's going to be affected. The student is going to be affected. And you know why? Because this was the result of the investigation. We are um, losing or wasting time, with this, but the majesty of reading is being affected, ladies and gentlemen. With these papers, the students are getting one message, and the message is reading is not important. Reading is just a photocopy. Reading is just a piece of paper that you read in a second and then you throw it. It's not important at all, right? So what do we have to do? What we have to do is we have to recover the majesty of reading. Guys, when you use this type of papers, printed papers, you are affecting children and students. You are not affecting publishers. You're not affecting the schools or the universities. Don't do it, guys. Promote reading of original printed books. Promote collections of books at home. And I'm gonna tell you more things. Okay, this for me, this is rubbish, okay? Because as I tell you, we are teaching students that reading is not important. And then we ask, why is reading the last thing of the society? Why students hate reading? Why do we have the lowest score in reading comprehension? We ask that question, right? But we have to remember why this happens, right? So I'm gonna show you a little bit of the things that we can do now. Part of the research that we did 10 years ago was that, okay, we found out that 93% of the students don't understand what they read, and just 7% of the students understand what they read. So they read just to find the answers for the reading comprehension bit, and that's it. Guys, I'm going to tell you today that if we think that reading comprehension questions like multiple choices or true or false or fill in the blanks and things like that, that is the way we can monitor if the students are reading or not, or if they understand the text or not, we are wrong. Okay, I'm going to tell you why in a second. Okay, guys, what's going on with reading now? Not now, from many years ago. Reading was taken in a very uh, disturbing way. First of all, because it was mandatory, right? So you have to read that book. I remember that day when the university, the first year, the teachers of I don't remember the history. I think it was the subject, and it's okay. You Giaco you're going to read El Decameron of Boccaccio. I said, why? Right? And he assigned a different book to all the students. Why? I'm not interested in reading that book. Why should I read that book? So other students were like demotivated with the books they had, and it was horrible, right? So reading in the past was mandatory, and of course, as a result of that, we hate that thing, right? Nobody hates something that is forced, inadequate for learners level. So I remember that when I was at school, I started in a bilingual school in Lima. I'm from Peru, by the way, but I live in Ecuador. So I started in a bilingual school, but I remember that my teacher used to say, okay, you're gonna read, I don't know, this thing, or Cien Años de Soledad, but how can a student from first year of high school can read Cien Años de Soledad? It's not like that, right? We have to assign books for the students, on their adequate learners level, right? So that is very important. Also, the topic was chosen by the teacher. So that is totally unfair. Okay, if we want to if we want students to fall in love with reading, and remember something, we always say that from love from hate sorry from hate to love, there is only one step, right? From hate to love, there's only one step, and that's true, right? But we need to do something, right? So here is the same. I remember the topic was chosen by the teacher. It's like when the teacher wants to use music in the classroom and they play Beatles song or a Rolling Stone song because he likes the music, right? So I'm gonna play that song in the class because that's the song I like. And that's the song where I fall in love with someone and I want to use that song in the class. Hey, that's the song you like, but that's not the song the students like. So it's always has to be like that. That's not fair, right? So in the book is pretty much the same, right? We need to provide books that they like, not the ones that we like, right? Also, the books didn't follow learners' intelligences, right? Okay, we were just, I mean, shooting to the air, and it was like everybody reads what I want you to read, and not even thinking about if this is a fun book or a logical book or I don't know, practical book. I don't know. So it was boring, right? And reading circles didn't exist. Nobody knew years ago what a reading circle is, right? So eh, we need to know that, okay, it's better when we establish a reading program or a reading circle in our classrooms or in our schools, in our institutes. Today, we're going to learn some ideas on how to set up reading circles and no home run experiences. Do you know what is a home run? Yeah. When you play baseball, right? A home run is when you hit the ball and you hit it far, far, far out of the stadium, right? Or not out of the stadium, but at least on the field, right? So that is really interesting because when you are a kid, your first home run is like, wow. And you go back home and you say, Dad, I hit a home run today. Oh, son, I'm so proud of you. And that's a memorable experience. That's the word, memorable, right? And you never forget your first home run and you feel so good. So the same way is with the reading. When you finish one book that you loved a lot, you feel like, wow, this was like a home run for me. I really loved it. I enjoyed the book a lot. I'm happy with the book I read. So I feel like if I hit a home run with this book, so I feel so good with this, right? So it's awesome, right? So some myths about the nature of reading. That's what I was telling you about this in minutes ago, that we need to perceive and decode letters in order to read words. It's not necessary. We will read all type of books. For example, can you do you understand what's written there? Any idea of what is written there? Maybe not. But if I add a context to that, um, I don't know if I can read the chat from here, but maybe some of you guys can tell me what is reading there. Yep, by context, maybe. I think that the chat is not activated right now, right? So, well, also, we think that we need to understand all the words in order to answer reading comprehension exercises accurately. And that's what I was saying, right? If we think that with reading comprehension questions, true or false, multiple choice, matching, or filling the blanks or things like that, if we think that is the correct way to assess students with reading, we are wrong. I'm going to show you an example. These are words that maybe you haven't heard before, right, or read before. I'm going to give you 3 minutes on the clock, right? These are not real words, but in a minute, I want you to share with me the answers the answer of these 5 reading comprehension questions, all right? So let's start, 3 minutes, and then we share the answers, okay? Let's go. guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Timing is very important, you're right, when we teach. So I think that the chat is activated right now. Um, yep. Okay, I think Rosanna has already activated the chat. So please, I would like some volunteers. Let's go with question number 1. And to prove that we don't need to understand the words to answer correctly reading comprehension questions. So number 1, what was the Flester doing and where? What was the Flester, according to the paragraph, what was the Flester doing and where? Anybody who can share in the chat, or the chat is not available yet? Rosanna, please, could you activate the chat so our fellow teachers? Alrighty, 1. What was the Flester doing and where? Who can tell me? All right. Any volunteer? You don't need to understand the words. Just let's see if you can guess the answer for that. Very good. Who's that? Otto Vaquero. Hello, my friend Otto from Guayaquil, Ecuador. Yeah, the Flester was Gollining Begrand de Brock. That's right. Very good. Number 2, what sort of a Flester was he? What sort of a Flester was he? Any idea? What sort of a Flester? Who can tell me that? Oh, okay. Puggish, Otto, again, very good. Marianela, very good. Puggish, Flester. Yeah, Puggish, Paola Navarrete. How do you know that? Because what kind of word is Puggish? It's, I mean, the part of the speech of that word is an adjective. Very good, Mario. Mario Coelho, my friend from Ecuador. Totally, right? So we can deduce the answer of that question, even though we don't understand a word of the paragraph. That is not good. Number 3, what did the writer decide not to jorter him? Why did the writer decide not to jorter him? Huh? Why? Because he seemed very Chanderville, right? Very good. So that's why he decided not to jorter him. Number 4, how did she dipple? How did she dipple? Again, we have a word, yeah, quistly, because what kind of word is quistly in the part of the speech? It's an adverb, very good, right? So again, we can deduce the answer of that question, and that doesn't show that I understood the text. Number 5, what did she hope would happen later? Yep, any ideas? Right, very good, Bisan Candor. This is awesome, guys. All right, thank you for your participation, guys. Thank you. And in a minute, we're gonna discuss, all right? In a minute, we're gonna discuss, but I'm gonna tell you something. This thing is not the best way to assess reading. We cannot prove or have the evidence that the student understood the text with reading comprehension questions, right? There are many other ways to prove that, and to help students, therefore, to fall in love with reading, right? Because as we told at the beginning, told you at the beginning, it's really boring when something is mandatory and you're forced to do something, right? But let me tell you something. Love. So to fall in love with reading, it's pretty much the same process that you fall in love with many other things or people in the world. They say that there's a very small step from hate to love, right? And love is a decision you make, not an emotion you feel. So love is a decision you make, not an emotion you feel. So I can decide to love this thing, right? And to fall in love with reading. First of all, Stephen Krashen used to say that free voluntary reading was very important, right? Free voluntary reading is the clue for this. And it's like every day going to the gym, like it's a habit, right? For example, I know many schools that we had conversations with them, and they started a reading circle for everybody in the school. It's like at 12 o'clock. It's like when Catholic schools they pray the Angelus at 12. Some other schools they at 12 everybody stops and they take out a book. The students take out a book. The teachers take out a book. The secretary takes out a book. The guard outside, yeah, the janitor takes out a book. Everybody reads like for 15 minutes or 20 minutes something, right? And it's an environment, right? And you can then share ideas like, hey, what are you reading? Oh, I'm reading a, Garcia Marquez book. I know I'm reading a, I don't know, Vargas Llosa book. Let's share. When you finish, let's share the book. Yeah, yeah, right, great. So we have like an environment of reading when you promote that, right? Now, let me tell you something that, of course, free voluntary reading still is allowed for reading, right? It's, remember, free, voluntary reading, right? Nobody's forcing you. No, nobody's punishing you with reading. I remember in the detention room, the punishment was reading. Go read. Why? Reading shouldn't be a punishment. Reading it's something good for you, right? I remember uh, I knew a person in my family that when kids were like moving around and being naughty, they would say, "Hey, come here, come here. You sit down there. You sit down there," and he would give each one a piece of a part of the newspaper. A kid, 6 year old, reading the newspaper just to stay there and read something like a punishment. You see, that's not good, guys, because we send a message. Reading is negative. Reading is punishment. Reading is, if you misbehave, you get reading. That's not, it's like, I don't know, my friends. So libraries are very important. We said at the beginning that in the past houses used to have libraries. That in the plan of the houses there was kitchen, there was bedroom, there was living room, there was I don't know, porch, and there was library too. Not anymore, of course. Reading is not important nowadays, right? So if we can promote the use of libraries in the school or everywhere, it's very important, guys. Very important. Some tips on how to help people to fall in love with reading is to identify what type of readings you want to read. What do I like? If I like politics, for example, or I like, music, I can read magazines on music or I mean, the topic I like, right? Cooking, for example. And there's no reading that is less important. All kind of readings are really the ignition to burn that passion inside, right? Remember, it's little by little. Another good tip is to invest in books. To invest in books, guys. For example, when you pay for something, right? What is the first thing you say at home? You tell your people at home, "Hey, be careful with that. Be careful with that. Me costó un ojo de la cara." Yeah, remember that? Yeah. So be careful with that. So we add value to things that we appreciate more the things that cost something for us, right? So if you buy a book, you will say, "Hey, this was a great book. I'm not gonna throw it at the end of the year. I'm gonna start a collection there, right? And tomorrow, maybe next month, I'll get another book. And all of a sudden, I have a complete shelf. I need to buy another shelf." That's very important. Guys, this is important. Reading is like going to the gym. Listen to this. Reading is like going to the gym. I want to make my point here. When you go to the gym, what happens the first day? When you go to the gym, the first day of gym is like painful, right? First day, oh man, I don't want to go back tomorrow. Oh, it hurts a lot. And even it's not only painful, it's like totally uh, I don't know, but I get really shocked on the first day of the gym when you start lifting zero weight, right? No, it's and you see a senior citizen there, 65-year-old guy, lifting a lot of kilograms there, and you start with nothing, right? And that's weird, right? So that's the first day, but second day you don't want to go back. But if you go back, you start, hey, damn, so now I'm lifting 10 kilos. Oh, yeah, I'm improving little by little. Oh, now it's not only 10 kilos, now I'm doing 20 kilos, right? And then it, it doesn't hurt anymore. You feel like, hey, I want to go back. I'm back again. No pain, my friends, no gain. No pain, no gain. So at the beginning, reading is the same. You think like, oh man, I don't like reading. I read 10 pages, but I feel like I want to just throw this to the garbage. I don't really like this. But I have to do it. But remember, 0 kilograms first. Then you start reading 5 more pages and say, yeah, little by little, oh, all of a sudden you're in the half of the book. And I say, oh, nice. The gym, what happens when you go to the gym? 1 year later, your muscles grow. 1 year later, you're working out, you see results. 1 year later in the gym, you see the consequences of your perseverance of going every day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. 1 year later of the gym of reading, this muscle here, the brain, grows. This knowledge grows. Cultural background and cultural awareness grows. So you work out and you are a well-built person when you go to the reading gym, when you work out every day. So it's pretty much the same, guys. So go to your local library. Maybe you have a local library there. This is in any city has a local library. Go. Um, you can stay there and create a good reading environment, ladies and gentlemen. Create a good reading environment. You can read wherever you want to read. And if you're going to start a reading circle in the school you work at, let the students read where they feel comfortable, right? Don't force them to stay put in their chairs and read there. No, let them sit there in the grass if they want. It's very important that when you read, you have to be comfortable, right? So you can read at home, you can read at the beach, you can read when you travel. Now you can also read digital books, right? Of course, you can also read in the libraries and local libraries. You can read in the combis. I remember these combis in Lima. I think they don't exist anymore. You can read everywhere, right? Nowadays. Guys, something important. When you go to the gym, or reading gym, you need to find a reading partner. You need to find a friend, a colleague that can read with you. I mean, find a partner. Okay, partner, what are we reading this month? Okay, let's read this. You know why? Because we talk about the reading, the gym. What happens with the gym? When you go alone, the third day you don't want to go anymore and you stay at home, you're watching TV and you wake up late and that's it. But when you go to the gym with a friend, she knocks at your door and say, hey, Maria, calm down. We have to go to the gym. Come on, Maria. Yeah, no, I don't feel like going to the gym, sweetie. Go back home. No, we have to go. We have to go, right? So it's pretty much the same thing. When you have a reading partner, you get somebody who is going to encourage you, who is going to motivate you when you feel like quitting, right? I like Reader's Digest a lot. I think this is a really great magazine, and you can find many different topics there. Actually, any kind of topics, and in one magazine you find a lot of different articles, right? And they are short. That you won't spend like months reading it. You can read it fast, and I mean, it's really awesome, right? And it's a gym. It's like you take it with you there in your bag, and that's it. Yeah, right, Mario. That's military section, and also there's a section here in the Reader's Digest of 20 new words. Not even Americans know those words, because the idea is to find out the meaning of those 20 new words, and that's amazing, right? Great. Try Reader's Digest. Some ideas for reading activities. Yeah, we have several ideas. We can talk about this in any other session, maybe some practical pre-questions on things that we are going to read. So it is very important to let creativity flow, right? To ask pre-questions, do it yourself question, how to apply what we have read into something practical for students. So it's very important to know that these ideas, these activities will, I mean, it's gonna like extend the book for the practical use of the students, right? To provide a title. So the classic find a title for this chapter activity or things like that. As you see, we are talking about creativity, summarize things or continue the story, find a different ending. What do you think it's gonna come up next week on the next chapter? Add a preface to the book. um, you can try gap text also, which is really interesting, and you can adapt any kind of reading into different activities, mistakes in the text. And so you, in purpose, you can add mistakes or many other things, comparison of things, of situations. And you can also, yeah, responding. I like something important when we talk about representation of context and these things, is that you can encourage them to do something practical and important for with a purpose for their lives. For example, in some schools they read a lot of business articles, or I mean economics and things like that, and then they have junior achievement programs like, a start your own startup or your business, and show us with the techniques you learn in the reading. Now, hey, what business are you going to start, right? We can have like a little fair or an open house or things like that, right? So it's really interesting. And I'm going to the end, getting to the end, but Dr. Krashen used to say that there are three things to prevent senile dementia and Alzheimer. And one of those three things is bilingualism. So when you are bilingual, your brain keeps like moving very fast, and you don't need to translate things, and you are healthy here, right? The other ingredient is coffee. As you know, caffeine helps all the brain behavior and to have a healthy brain. But the third one is reading, ladies and gentlemen. When you read a lot, you stay healthy here and your brain. That's why, I don't know if you know, for example, in Peru, Mario Vargas Llosa, for example. Mario Vargas Llosa, how old is he? He's like 85, 86. Yes. 5 years ago, he had a new girlfriend, Enrique Iglesias' mother, right? And he's doing great. He talks fastly, and I mean fast, and he even debates, and he even promotes, things like for our elections now in Peru. And he's really wise, and he thinks like a 20-year-old guy, right? So that's because he reads a lot. That's because Dr. Krashen, some of you know Dr. Krashen, right? And Dr. Krashen is he's like 85 too. And he still, I mean, gives presentations in for many places now via Zoom. I think that happens when you read You are a healthy person here in your brain. No senile dementia or Alzheimer. And that's pretty much it, what I was going to share. Look, when you read, also your vocabulary improves. Check out this video.
So a noun is a person, place, or thing. A verb is an action word. Max, something to share with the class? Come on. Shh. Thank you. How tired I am of this unbearable distance between us. How I long for the toll of the recess bell. Have you forgotten me? Grown mindless of me? Tell me I am not riding into an abyss, or that is what will become of my heart.
Help provide books to schools in dire need. Support the Indigo Love of Reading Fund.
Right, that's right. So check this out. So this student started, reading. I mean, he was using what we call in Peru un buen floro, right? Un buen floro. In Ecuador, they call it labia, no? Buena labia. And people think that, hey, how can I improve my speaking, right? How can I have a good floro in English? How can I have a very buena labia in English? This is the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Reading. If you read here, you speak here. If you read here, you speak here, right? As you can see, many people, in Spanish, they speak terrible Spanish, being natives. And when they speak terrible Spanish, it's because they don't read. You ask them, hey, how many books have you read? I don't like reading. Terrible Spanish. So you don't learn to speak by speaking. Sometimes we think, let's give them a lot of speaking practice, so they will speak. No, my friends, if you want them to speak, you have to help them reading. This is the answer, not only for speaking, grammar, punctuation, writing, of course. You don't learn to write by teaching writing. You learn to write by reading, ladies and gentlemen. Today, this is what I wanted to share with you. And of course, there is a way to fall in love with reading, to send our students from the stage of I hate reading, I love reading, because from hate to love, there's only one single step. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here with me today. Thank you, Rosana. Thank you, Peru Tech Meta Peruvian Association of Teachers of English. Thank you very much.
Giaco, we really want to express our gratitude to this presentation, to your energy, your time, your experience, okay? So we have learned a lot. I don't know if teachers have some questions, some comments, suggestions. Please feel free to tell Giaco. He's here for us. So let's take advantage of him and let's learn together. Do you have any questions, dear teachers? I'm feeling better right now. At the beginning, I couldn't talk. Do you have any question, any comment? Okay, so there are some comments here.
Thank you very much, guys.
There are many comments here. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Great. We must read and then share our thoughts. We must. Reading is freedom. Very interesting. Mauro Carrillo, I think, no? You are totally right. I agree with you. Reading is the clue. Reading gives your opinion. Reading is just a part. We need to develop reading culture. Should first be targeted to parents. Building vocabulary structure is also embedded to help students out with grammar. According our lecturer could increase our capacity to speak well. Thanks for sharing your ideas. Thanks a lot, dear Giaco. Thanks
It's
for
my
the
pleasure.
idea. It was really